The first couple of days of regionals have completed, and congratulations to all the players who already secured themselves a Worlds slot. But now it's time to go back and investigate some of the more interesting games that have already taken place. And as such, we're going to be jumping in game with YB1 from day 1, game 3, I believe, from the APAC regionals. We are playing in an Echo and Yasuo game, and already starting out here with a Diana. Diana is one of those units that definitely enable you to be playing around that Leona print version if you're able to get something like Plint on 3 attacks, because with 3 Arbiter that one becomes quite strong and you're actually able to sometimes high roll the 2 prints. Maybe you can chase that 4-star. Haven't seen one in a while, but the 3-star definitely can get online on tempo, and we already have that Rage Blade. I would not be going back trying to decipher in Vietnamese what the options he was offered were, but we have paired also with the challengers here. Can't consider playing MF from this spot, can't consider playing Jinx from this spot, definitely giving up on the Surgot. Hoping to hold on to the Bastions, also the Gnar, obviously another unit that greatly synergizes with that Rage Blade. Now, currently he is in a spot where he had quite a rough start of the first couple of games. Little unfortunate things happened, therefore he's looking for a potential to be playing for a win out. Too tanky, you just play in your standard Samira board, no other board works from there. Earth, I do not like this augment on 2-1, heavy investment, tempo wise, because you need to invest a component plus the augment. Better if you have already something like a trade tree, otherwise I am not a fan of this augment. Bodyguard training here, this got buffed, and now a lot of players are considering this to again be quite viable. Especially if you're able to play for something like a fast line board. We have a Rage Blade, which obviously is the Vex's best item. Something you can consider to be playing around. Concentration is there is a reroll variant floating around. Also can be played in something like an ASOL. We do not have a unit yet. We would gain a Zoe. Maybe the Information Arbiter here would help, but I'm not too sure. Woven Magic, a great tempo item augment. If you have something that increases attack speed or mana generation to get those casts going, this can allow you to tempo with those components. Obviously a little bit weaker online, on the start. But I believe he's very strong on this augment here, the bodyguard training right now, as a potential to be playing for a very strong board. Also, when you are playing in this LeBlanc, these resistances are greatly synergizing together with the vanguards, right? You gain the shields, you gain the durability, gain the resistances. That is going to be the best stat. And strong frontline augments are key for this LeBlanc to really succeed and have a potential to secure placements. LeBlanc has become extremely hot right now. I've been seeing so much success across, especially in the western regions, in these regionals right now, and a lot of players are on it. And especially if you're going to be contested, you're going to want to, your LeBlanc want to be doing something in stage 4, and strong frontline is the key for that. Upgrading our Nasus here, swapping to slot 2 challengers. They're still holding on to this Jinx as we have no reason exactly to sell her. Seeing scouting the lobby around, we have a birthday reunion player. We have a player that's kind of open here, that with the Cho'Gath, and we saw the Lulu player there as well. And seems that this player might here considering playing around the Jinx as well. Obviously with the Rage Blade Sam, it's not exactly that we would be playing into the Jinx, right? With Jinx you would consider a red buff, and then something like a Spear of Shojin. Rage Blade simply not that strong, even though I believe the initial idea of the champion was to be designed to be played around the red buff. Sorry, the Rage Blade. Same goes for Xayah. So with the Rage Blade Slam, I believe we are truly locking ourselves in our LeBlanc, and there we do not care as much what our Arbiter might even really be. Since, well, you basically drop the Arbiter as soon as you can in most cases, unless you have a very strong one, which would be exactly gaining ability power in my opinion. Whereas if we got the one that gives resistances on attacks, then something like this Diana is quite strong. For ourselves, we have the cryogenic hex, the cosmic hex right here. This can be quite strong. Definitely, if we are playing around this tempo, we have won to a couple of rounds. We can be considering this because this is going to, even though a delayed value stacking, still more value than this artifact. And the artifact coming in on 8 rounds, this is something you can consider from a loss streak, really. Or you have to be playing a line, something like a mech that can utilize both AD, AP, and tank artifacts. Otherwise, it can be quite tricky. You might find something that's not really useful for you, especially if you do not already have a Reforger. However, the Cosmic Hex here, if you high roll a strong frontliner, for example, if you somehow high roll a Morgana with this Cosmic Hex on stage 3, it can become quite nasty. For our component right now, we have this open sword. Now, if we take a cloak here, we are heavily then indexing potentially on this BT slam here, and we're going to be placing the Cosmic Hex. And we might... the thing is, with a BT slam, we would be locking ourselves into either playing for this Diana, or you can transition it later on to something like, for example, the... sorry, I'm blanking it. Blitzcrank or Graves, right? It seems that he also wanted to play Rast here over 3 Challenger, which might be an interesting observation, and he's trying to ping these units, and he hasn't gotten the Prince just yet. He seems to be reconnecting also for some reason. Not 100% sure why he perhaps wasn't too happy about something. Anyhow, we are looking out to close the stage on a 4 win. Unfortunately, dropped that first round, but they still have a potential for that win streak. And we didn't have to commit to BT, so we are still quite open for but potential. The meta has been bleeding more and more towards the AP. Therefore, saving your clocks for something like a Dragon Claw is great. And also Morgana being the hot tank in the meta, she loves that raw HP. So playing around that Dragon Claw on her is amazing, especially when paired with something like the Warmogs. Seeing that there's a couple of Anima players right there, well, at least one Anima still, if you get to the 500, has this insane, and you can see that there is a Leona print in the lobby as well. Whereas us, we get to drop the sword now, and we get sword and with the Sterax BT combo, this is not too appealing. He's going to be committing that BT right now since we are on that 4 win. Are we going to consider leveling? I believe we're just a little bit too poor to be doing so at this moment. But this is the thing with LeBlanc, especially if you want to be playing into her from a win streak kind of a spot. Your items sometimes just might not work out, and the comp can use like 5 rods quite easily. Therefore, if you are playing from a win streak, you have to have some kind of an augment that can fix that situation for you. Going to be nicely hovering here, this belt going to commit it in the end just to secure that win. And now we have finally printed our Leona, so it seems that we do have some kind of potential for the Leona on attack print. Coming up on our next augment selection, in this LeBlanc line, hold the line, insane value. You can fill up your whole front line right here, and you're going to be completely fine. Since we have resistances and durability, Giant and Mighty are not even that bad. Now, we do not have the Shepherd online right now, and this is going to lose a little bit of value here. We are in a tempo spot, so Cursed Crowd might be appealing. You can utilize these 3 slots, and a Pig here is also as well streaking. But is our board... We have to ask ourselves a question. Do we have a strong enough of a board to actually capitalize on it? Because if we start taking losses, this can become quite bad for ourselves. He seems to just... He just rips it right away. He doesn't even consider other options, really. He just sees them. No, I don't want them. I believe this hold line is extremely strong. Lucky Gloves Plus. For your higher cap comp, something like the Fast 9 boards can you utilize if you're able to capitalize on this Lucky TG tempo right away. We cannot do that right now. And in this AP kind of flex line that we're angling right now, I don't think. Sweet 3 though is quite nice again. Raw HP on your team with durability, with resistances right there, quite be good. And we could utilize still the like tank artifact right now. We only have this Leona right now. Going to be leveling here, picking up the Cursed Crown instead, and opting to level here for this Malware Matrix, it seems. Valuing the 3 item Diana, it seems to be his read. Would be nice if he has some kind of Voyager, opting to slot in the MF for an extra Challenger as well, but we are on 3 Vanguard, which is a little bit awkward. And it seems that we just decided to -1 our remover and not have the belt on this Diana anymore, as we opted not go for with this Wisp Psionic anymore, and we are queuing into a Briar 3 with the Vice spending right there, and it seems that we might be in shambles, because how do we kill this Briar? We do not. Immediately 16 damage taken by ourselves. Thankfully we managed to print a couple more Leonas, but this is the thing with the Cursed Crown. We lost our streak. We're going to be a little poor now, still at level 640 gold right now, and 16 damage incoming. That is a lot, and here against the Lulu reroll player who has double death cap, Milio 2, and this is what I was worried about, this Cursed Crown prick. We have 8 units, yeah, but they are unitemized and they are not upgraded, and we take a 20 damage. So this is 36 damage taken in 1 round. At this pace, we might be dead before even our last augment selection, if we are going to find a way to salvage this. Therefore, we believe that we might just have to again lean with Yasuo here, which I believe this should be the attack speed, Hex 30% attack speed. 2-5 costs would just be the late value. We have to look at our matchup pool. Are we able to actually be able to greed this? He believes he can. Is his plan still to be playing more in towards this Fast 9 kind of board? Obviously, the 2-5 costs with these extra slots can provide immense value, right? We can be playing pretty much most 5 costs if we find a way. Going to be slamming the Sunfire and we print that Leona 3 now. Now we might have a damage to be a little bit more stable, but this Leona only has a single item. I'm going to transition a BT on her to give her more durability. But again, where is our damage going to be coming from? We have this Nami that maybe she can do something, but we're facing an Ornn. Thankfully, it's still an Ornn 1 from Ironbog here with the 3-item Nami. This Leona is going to be quite durable still, and despite the 3 Vanguard that we're still running. And thankfully, she's able to buy enough time and actually do quite a bit of damage right there. And simply through the unit power, we are going to be quite strong. And if we had taken another loss, this would be an absolute shambles for ourselves. I think this spot is already extremely hard for us to be able to navigate. And let's see how he manages to approach it. We're having the nice Rost in here with the 6 traits already in the stage. And more resistances. We already have resistances from our augment, but thankfully it's a little bit of attack speed, and hopefully this is going to be enough. Our unit quality is not bad. It's simply that we don't have the items really, but so does not the rest of the lobby, right? If it seems that there's a lot more indexing in these combat and icon augments, and the thing to consider is that, okay, I might not have items, or for example, if you're broke, is the rest of the lobby broke? If the rest of the lobby is not broke, well, then you're in shambles. If rest of the lobby is broke and you're broke, okay, that's fine. Then you can start to navigate. Find this ASOL PL already, but we do not really have these ASOL items neither for the unmech'd or the mech'd version that we might be considering. And I'm interested to see, we're going to get Shepherd online, how we're going to actually capping out this board. See that there's a Karma 2 already pulled out of pool. Zaya 2 seems to be coming in, and we are queuing into the Zaya 2. Thankfully, their frontline seems a little bit weak, so maybe this Leona is going to be able to protect our Nami just long enough and the unit amount of units so that we can scale with the Space Group a little bit later in the fight and actually pick up a win. As long as this recall does not happen right now, and it did, and we are taking another 16 damage just in the last second there. That was the worry that the recall might be. We had the positioning for it for our last augment selection right now. We have a lot of units, we have quite stronger frontline, therefore something like an Ascension is quite appealing. Sunfire board, we have the Sunfire Exiles with these extra units is going to be extremely awkward. You cannot position Exiles, I believe, past 10 units. Should also check our 5 costs here that we got. We got Graves and Jin. We do not have the 80 items, I don't think we can commit, but maybe we can play a Graves in one of these flex slots. Going to be opting to level. Wait, he just snap picked again Ascension. He does not seem to be valuing anything else. We immediately high roll a Blitzcrank though, and the Sona right there, so there's something we can be considering here that we want, and we have the possibility to be playing around 6 Vanguard as well. And it seems that this is more like a flashback to this Nami flex kind of a board, but we don't have like the jeweled gauntlet, we do not have much, and we're going to nicely, again, another nice thing here, that this is the Hex that stuns the mod, and he didn't need to slam it beforehand, before the fight. He could just wait, see which side the opponent is going to be more indexing on, and then just put it on a weak unit there to actually buy the stun value. Do not put it on your main tank, always. Some cases you might want to. And he's also going for the Assault Frame Graves, and we've pioneered Nami too, which is quite neat given the Space Group player. But yeah, do not have slam it on your frontliner. Getting a stun out earlier in the fight is always more value than later on in the fight. Because you delay cast, you have the possibility to kill these units, so that if they don't cast, the unit's value is mostly in the fight. And you can see again, he moved it back and put it back on right there on the valuable side. Maybe able to get a stun on the Lulu here, but with the 6 Vanguard frontline and the Ascension kicking in, now that we have picked up the Nami too, we should be in a quite decent of a spot. Obviously, we would still be looking to maybe pair together with something like a Karma, but are we going to be able to do so? Now the question decides, do we want this... This is the stun hex, if I'm not mistaken. It could be quite a lot of value. I believe it's actually broken, but we have picked up fully indexed on the combat, and our combat augment is scaling with a level. So therefore, maybe this gold is more appealing. Plus, we need items. Nope. He does not want Echo's items. He believes that simply the stun hex is so broken that he's going to be picking it up. We are slotting in the LeBlanc still as a possibility here, since, unless we make it too... Well, the Graves, the ranged Graves, the path that he seems to be building towards can actually utilize the Rage Blade alrighty. And obviously we have the possibility to maybe if we make it to level 9 to cap around the Vex. But this is an interesting read here, playing around these 3 combat augments. He did not consider items, he did not consider econ in many spots. He wanted to be tempoing as hard as he possibly could and believe that with the extra... Obviously the combat augments are designed to scale around the amount of units you have. And if you picked up Cursed Crown, then the combat augments gain more value simply by due to the nature of you having more units. And are we going to be going with a Coolant Plus here? This Grace is going to start to become a little bit expensive, and we do not really have the item overflow to be investing into him right now. Going to be picking up the seam that was just a 0 gold option, and yeah, he's tossing it immediately out as we find this LeBlanc right now. Still holding on the team for a possibility of 5 shepherds if we find that LeBlanc. And yeah, this Karma is going to be holding the slot. Let's see how are we going to be dropping out of 6 Vanguard maybe for that kind of spot. Also have the Sona still on bench. Are we looking what we're missing? We were missing Magic Shred, but he picked up another what seems to be Jewel Gauntlet Giant Slayer would be my guess. Still going to be rolling heavily here on level 8, since this is another thing of the Cursed Crown. You have so many units, especially if you're going to be playing around high quality units and 4 costs. You have so much gold to invest on level 8. And yeah, Jewel Gauntlet Giant Slayer can transition. Not going to transition, going to keep this onto the Nami here. Obviously, LeBlanc 1 going to be playing around the upgraded units, and we're still going to be rocking this BT on the front line because, well, we need our Leona to be holding down the fort. Nunu ult coming in, a decent ult, did not hit exactly the Lulu, but again, we just have so much value on our board that we are able to start to overpower. Nicely rebounded game back here. After those 3 losses earlier, this stage 3 and the start of stage 4. This was a spot that I would be in a lot of panic modes, essentially, to say of how it had turned out. Given you're just taking immense amount of damage, you don't have gold, you have combat augments, but this is, yeah, something that has been noticed that sometimes in some other regions they heavily index on these combat augments and believe just the combat augments to bridge the gap rather than, for example, items. Well, though, today in NA we saw a lot of item picks. But now we take a big loss here against Pig Pig, who was our doom already before with that Vice spending, playing in that reroll variant right there, quite strong, just simply able to overpower us because we, again, I do not think we have items. Well, Deep Abyss right there, reforging into a Morelos. Doing the last second swap here against this Space Group board so that hopefully this Leona can stall them. But hey, AP from this Morelos is going to be AP. At least 3 items is 3 items. And we should be fine against this Ghost fight. And we are basically on 1 life with this Curse right now. We are on 1 life. If we take 1 loss, we are out. Going to be immediately picking up the item anvil. I would assume we're looking for a potential for the some form of a frontline item right now. Do have a D-Claw, so probably have to go with that option. There were AP matchups in our pool. That's going to be fine, and we're going to be having 3 items once more on this Leona. Have this Lulu in our matchup. Again, do this last second swap. Not going to greed the Cosmic Hex anymore. Just want this to stall, and we absolutely must win the rounds. We're rolling there to find LeBlanc 2. Did not manage to find it, but this Nami and Karma duo is actually putting in the work. Both pretty much equal damage. The Nami Karma Flex is back. A nice variant here due to the Cursed Crown enabling you to play a couple of more Shepherd units of LeBlanc and Sona. We are playing around the 5 Shepherd as well, which provides a nice frontline boost, especially scaling with this bodyguard training right now, allowing our Ascension to kick in, and that is how we're winning our fights. Again, the swap, the other players seem to be indexing that side, but we have a Rammus to get through right now, and we do not have Shred on our board, so this is going to take a while. We have to hope for this Ascension to be enough. The Blitzcrank is reviving there. Our frontline did seem to go down, but a couple of more ults. The burst damage coming out from Nami and Karma is able to just blow up the remainder of the team with the Ascension proc. And pretty much should be securing ourselves at top 4 as even, well, if you take a big loss here on stage 6, it's 12 stage badges, so that's 24 that we're taking by default. We could still fall out of the top 4 if you take a bad loss on this fight. Now finally, keep rolling. He does not consider pushing level 9. Level 9 for Rast here would be immense value in my opinion, but he's still going to value picking up this LeBlanc since we kind of have the items for her, but we're not doing the item swaps. We are heavily indexing onto this positioning and still going to value potentially this Nami to be a Karma's stronger duo carry despite this Rage Blade right there. Interesting choice, and maybe because our Arbiter doesn't do much. Nonetheless, we saw this fight again before against this Space Group board. We just have too much value. We have too strong of a front line with the 5 Shepherd, with the 4 Vanguard, and upgraded Nunu even more. And once we get to the Ascension, we're actually able to blow them up, and it's nice to see how this is working out. Again, it's going to go for these simply hover scouts, just so this Leona can heavily stall that is pretty much our game plan to win right now. Still not going to be going with the slap, so that seems to be the game plan that this just permacasting, permacasting exactly, but this million times casting Nami is going to be enough. Secure ourselves at top 2, and now we are facing Iron Bog here against the Space Group board. If they spike with the Blitzcrank 2, is going to be quite a worry for ourselves. They have that anomaly onto Warren to guarantee that Radiant Stoneplate or Warmogs, which are two of the best Radiant items. Now they have the Nami on the right side, managed to swap away from our Leona. So if this frontline falters fast now, we could have the potential for this Nami to get back on ourselves. They have a lot of durability. So these both matchups are pretty much in scaling matchups. The Space Group is also going to be gaining the base. That it seems that we are able to pick up a win, but we might have to do it a couple of more times in order. Still going to be rolling here instead of considering pushing levels. Is this going to be a mistake? In my opinion, what are we exactly rolling for? We have pretty much upgraded everything. Well, Leona 2 on Sona 2 on 8. The dying Blitzcranks, I'm not too fond of that. Going to be picking up another item for this Leona. Again, they swap on the last second, we swap on the last second. The Blitzcrank is going to knocking back our Leona, and this is going to be a little bit of a harder matchup for ourselves. They have seemed to be able to get down our frontline first, but we still have a lot of backline units present, and the stuns coming in clutch from the Nami for us to secure another win. Now this is going to be the last fight of the game. Are we going to be going for the swap one more time, or are they believe that we are not going to be? Gardenbog finds the Blitzcrank too there. We have to kind of dodge this Blitzcrank. We do so. They going for the default positioning right there. So the Blitzcrank is going to be working on the weaker side. The Nunu ult does go onto the Blitzcrank, but doesn't hit the Nami, unfortunately. And the Ornn is still living. They have made it to our backline. This Blitzcrank 2 has been pretty much the diff, putting in a lot of work with that build right there. They managed to wrap us, and unfortunately we're going to be losing. Nonetheless, a very exciting game played by YBY1 here. I'm not exactly sure what the original game plan was. Maybe it was to be playing around the LeBlanc all along, or consider potentially Fast 9, but we saw that Cursed Crown, we clicked it just because we believed in augments so much. However, our game plan started to crumble at that point. We took those 3 big losses in stage 3 and start of stage 4, did not have the HP or the econ to truly be pushing, and on our roll down, we were just going for a flex variant. Found these Vanguard frontliners, found these Shepherd units. Even though our items didn't exactly work out, we were still able to play around this Nami and Karma duo carry as a flashback, and never even transferring that Rageblade onto LeBlanc carry. And through nice positioning of moving your frontline just to be stalling long enough, played for this win condition, or having overwhelming numbers pumped up by these combat augments to bounce our game back and secure a top 2 placement in the situation where if he had taken another bot 4, our tournament was written off. I would like to thank you for watching. Hope that you learned something new, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good one.